let's talk rare plushes. Friends, welcome back to my channel. Well, if you're new here, my name is Lize and I'm a Disney plush collector from the UK. So happy Friday, I hope you've all had a great week. I'm here with a video that hasn't been requested, but I did one of those random video idea generators a while ago and it said I should do one of these videos, and I didn't think I had plush worthy of doing this video, but actually I did a little bit of research and I have managed to find the 10 or technically 12 rarest and most hard to find plushes in my collection right now. So I've done a little bit of digging on Vinted, on eBay, just on random websites, trying to find what plushes I have that are rare, but they are plushes that you would see at some point. They just might be at a high price point, because I was just going to put in ones that you won't be able to get at all. So for example, I haven't put in my Tokyo Disneyland Sully that I got last year, and if you didn't see the video all about how I got him, I will leave a card up above, because that was the only time I've ever seen him for sale, because he's a Japanese plush. I've tried to find plushes that you could at least find in the UK and the US, and if you think this video is going to include the Splash Mountain plushes, you're wrong, because unfortunately I don't own them. I've never actually seen them for me to buy. I've just got one wishable of Brer Rabbit, so it's not going to be that kind of video where you're going to want all of my plushes. These are just some really random plushes that in my research I came across that they're actually quite hard to find now. So I say 10 or 12 because I've got 10 on my checklist, but some of them are 2 plushes. So the first 2 I'm going to start with are the Nightmare Before Christmas Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse. So this is Minnie as Sally and Mickey as Jack. I bought them for £50 together at a Comic-Con in about 2014, I think, and even then they were saying these are rare, these are hard to find, and I thought they were really expensive. And my auntie was with me and she was like, your mum's gonna kill me that you spent that much, but I was like, I really love the Nightmare Before Christmas. I won't be able to get these plushes myself. When I went to Walt Disney World the following year in 2015, I didn't see them anywhere, so I'm really glad I own them. I believe they were a limited release, and when you look on eBay and things, they go for £85 plus, so I wouldn't be able to get them for £50 nowadays. So I'm really grateful that I have them, but they are unfortunately in the loft because they live with my Halloween plushes, so I remembered to take a video of them before I put them in the loft, because I've been planning this video since my Halloween plushes were out. I would also like to say I don't usually pay attention to sold prices, so this is not me saying, oh, I'm now going to go and sell them, because I love these plushes and they are staying in my collection. I just think it's interesting what they are going for, because I personally don't pay double what something retailed for, and some of these are going well above what they retailed for. I remember at the time thinking that £50 was a lot, but actually £25 per plush, they were probably around that, if not a little tiny bit less, so I kind of got them for a bargain price considering what they're going for now. Now, a really random one that I didn't think would be that rare, but I suppose it is a character you don't see that often, and it's the Disneyland Paris Hortensia plush. I got this at the same time I got my Oswald. I believe that they were originally released for the 25th anniversary of Disneyland Paris. They did like a Fan Days annual pass holder event, and you could meet Oswald and Hortensia there, and they had special merchandise for that, but mine don't have the tags on anymore, so I don't know whether they were for Fan Days or whether they were re-released. But either way, they're fairly old plushes now, as Disneyland Paris is into its 33rd year now. Sometimes they're sold together for quite a bit of money, and sometimes they're sold separately. So I've seen them recently on Vinted for £60 for the 2 of them, but I've also recently seen that Hortensia sold on her own on eBay for £60. So I think she is quite hard to get, but I'm really glad I got her. I think it's the only plush I've ever seen of her, so I snapped her right up. I think a friend had to get her for me, and I collect Oswalds as I see them anyway, so it was a no-brainer that I was going to get the Oswald. But I really didn't expect the Hortensia to be rare, and I don't see why they don't continue selling her either, because they'd make so much money if they still sold her. And then the other one that's 2 plushes actually. So I've had this plush since it came out, and it is my favourite plush in my collection. So if you've seen top 10, top 31 videos from me, and if you haven't seen my top 31 that I did for my birthday, I will leave a card up above. He was in that video because he's just been my favourite plush ever since I got him. And when I got him, actually, I was getting a lot of messages saying, like, is he going to restock? I don't know. I don't work for Disney. Someone even asked me to sell mine, and I was like, I'm posting about him because I love him, so why do you think I would sell him? But it's the Mickey Director plush. So he was released in 2018, I think, on the Disney store, and I think he might have restocked once, but he must have been in limited supply because hardly anyone seems to own him. He's got a clapperboard, and I've got his tag in a tag protector that actually says that he was £20, and the only one I've found of him for sale on Vinted, they want £46 for him. But I actually couldn't find him on eBay. But the one I did find on eBay was the US equivalent, which I like to call Roy to my Walt. He's in a bit of a bad state now, and I don't know why. I've had him since new. I bought him myself from the US Disney store because you could get things shipped to the UK. But this is the director plush that the US got. He's also got a stamp on the foot like my Walt did. But look at all the cracking on his shoe. I don't know how that's happened. It's kind of grossing me out a little bit. But I saw on eBay when I was doing research for this video and looking for how much my other one goes for, that someone's selling him for £139 on eBay. Not that I want to sell mine, but I wouldn't get that because it's not in mint condition because of this weird cracking that I didn't cause. But it's amazing how much they're putting these plushes up for, because I left the lame silver tag on mine, so you can actually see that he was $24.95. So £139 is crazy, but that isn't the sold price, so I don't know whether anyone will actually pay that. And then one I remember getting myself, and it's been such a cherished part of my collection ever since, is the Steamboat Willie Mickey from Disneyland Paris. This was a limited edition. It was €29.90, and he's actually numbered. So I've got number 610 of 1928, and there's the tag to prove it. It's in a bit of a bad way, but what can you do? And he is going for £100 on eBay, and I've seen him for £50 on Vinted as well. Now again, I don't know whether anyone will pay that, but considering I only paid just under €30, I can't believe how much they've skyrocketed in value. Then the next one I just bought from a friend on Instagram, and I honestly can't remember how much I paid for her, but the Georgette Oliver & Company plush is supposedly quite rare. I've seen that she sells for £60 plus on eBay, and I remember when I got her I was like, she could be better, because obviously she's a really old plush, but that's possibly why she goes for so much. And it also helps that she's a very rare character, because it's really hard to get Oliver & Company plushes. One of my personal grails is to get a Tito plush, but again, they're quite old. I don't like how they don't look as much like him as I'd want them to, so I just keep hoping that we're going to get a release of them, but it doesn't look likely. And then a plush that I literally searched for because my friend Jack on Instagram had one, and I was like, I need to own this. This is another Steamboat Willie Mickey from the Disney store. It's a limited edition. I found out when doing research for this video that there was only 1,000 made, but I don't have a tag telling me what number I have. But he's got a stamp on his right foot and Walt Disney's signature embroidered onto his left foot, and that's why I wanted him so badly. But I don't know what this one goes for because I couldn't find one being sold online. All I can tell you is that I paid £49.45 for mine when I got him, so he sells for about £50 because Muggins here bought it. But I figure for a plush of that size he was probably 25-ish, so he comes under my double what it retailed for rule. And then this one, I'm not sure whether it is rare or hard to find, or whether the people selling it on eBay just want to make people panic buy it, because people do that. But I've only seen it selling for about £20-25, so I don't know as it's that rare, and it was a Disney store plush that wasn't numbered, so they probably made quite a few. But it's special to me, and obviously it would have probably only been sold for a few months because it was for an anniversary. But it's the Winnie the Pooh 90th anniversary plush. Like I said, they're saying it's rare on eBay, but I think people say it's rare just to bump the price up. But he is a really beautiful plush. I'm so glad I have him. I've still got the tag on him as well, and he retailed for £30. So the people who were selling him for 20 actually actually aren't putting the price up at all. You're getting him for a bit of a bargain, but I thought I'd include that one. And then I've got another numbered plush, but it's a Donald Duck limited edition. I have actually considered selling this one a few times because there's nothing that special about him. He just has a limited edition on his buckle and he's numbered, but I've got Donald Ducks that look like him, so I wasn't going to keep him, but I decided to. So he's got this tag that is numbered. I don't know whether you can read that. It says that he is 3,993 of 4,524, and he's from 2012. And the price is ripped off a little bit, but you can see a 22, so he was probably like 22.50 or something. He's one that I've gone back and forth on. Every time I've decided to sell him, I'm like, I won't be able to get him back. And then especially when I started plush collecting quite seriously, I was like, I don't have that many numbered plushes. I should probably keep him. So I go back and forth. I did find him on eBay, and one person wants £15 and one person wants 57. So is he rare? I don't know, but 4,524 doesn't sound like a very limited run to me. And then one that I'm sure I got on Vinted a couple of years ago, but apparently it's now rare. It's currently on Vinted for £35, and someone else wants £40 for him on eBay, but it's this little tiny Christopher Robin plush. I would not pay £30 or £40 for him. I think I paid about £6. But I'm really glad I have him now, because apparently he's quite hard to find, and I'm like, really? He wasn't hard for me to find. I just came across him on Vinted one day. But that kind of is the beauty of Vinted. Not everyone knows that what they're selling is worth something. So I've got a few plushes coming on Vinted in the next few days, and I'm going to share them with you in a video when they're here. And I think I paid far less than I should have for them, but I just snapped them up before anyone else could because I wanted them, and I was like, I'm never going to see them for this price ever again. But apparently this Christopher Robin is quite hard to find, so I'm really glad he's in my collection. And the Christopher Robin plushes themselves are quite rare apparently now, and go for quite a bit of money, especially if you sell them all together. I'm not going to show them in this video because I did show you my entire Winnie the Pooh plush collection earlier this week, so if you didn't see that video, I will leave a card up above because they are in that video, and I've already shown you 2 plushes that were in that video, so that's enough Winnie the Pooh for today. And then my final plush that I'm going to share with you is a really random one. So when I was looking up rare plushes, this one appeared and I was like, is it really rare? Because I remember getting it. But apparently Chuckles from Toy Story 3 is really rare. I got him from the Disney store. He's a mini beanbag, so even though I haven't got the tag anymore, I can imagine he wasn't more than about £8.95, but he's on eBay for £23, £40 and £47. So apparently he is quite rare and hard to find. I think he's terrifying, but that's just me. Other people must really like him. I suppose it's because he's a character that only appeared in the one film, so he doesn't have much merch, and they probably didn't make many of him thinking that people would be terrified of him like I am. But it's a really weird one to be going for such high prices because he's so tiny. I would never pay that much for him, so I'm really glad that I got him when he first came out. But those are my top 10, I think, rarest and hardest to find plushes in my collection. Like I said, I've also got Tokyo Disneyland Sully, but he's like impossible to get. I did think that the Queen London Disney Store Minnie would be rare, but I think they made so many over the course of the time that they sold them. They just became hard to find when the Queen passed away, but then people only bought them to resell, and I don't think they resold that well, so you can get her for pretty cheap on the internet, I think. But this has been a really fun video to film because it's showing you plushes that I wouldn't normally get to show you, like Chuckles, and kind of talking about how I got them, whether I got them when they first came out, whether I bought them on eBay, and really showcasing that I don't just have plush that have been bought in the last couple of years. I do have some really old plushes that are hard to find now. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did, and let me know down in the comments if you have any of these, or if you have a favourite of the plush that I showed you. Just a reminder again that they won't be for sale, so please don't ask me to list them on Vinted or eBay or anything because they are staying in my collection. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday for another video. Bye friends!